everyone. Welcome to Bean to Barstool Bite-Sized, where we spend about 5 minutes with some of our favorite people from craft beer and craft chocolate. Today we hear from Erica Gilmour of Hummingbird Chocolate. Hummingbird is in Lanark County, Ontario, the maple sugar capital of a region known for its maple. Fittingly, they make a bar that celebrates this sweet regional distinctive, and as the maple run is currently in full swing, I wanted to share Erica's thoughts on working with this evocative ingredient.
Being in Lanark County, which is known as the maple capital of Ontario, we knew that we had to use maple in our products. So we tried it with a few different origins. A lot of the origins that we have are quite fruity, which is beautiful as a chocolate bar, but doesn't necessarily mesh well with the maple. So we really wanted to find something that had a bit more of a classic chocolate flavor, a little bit more of those fudgy or nutty or caramelly notes. So the bean that we're using for that is Ghana. And so we did source that through Uncommon Cacao, through a cooperative working there. And I think it's a great story of hopefully some of the ways cacao growing in West Africa will evolve over time. But it has a bit of a caramelly note to it already. So I think that it works really well with the maple sugar. This one is a 65%. Yeah, we found that it was a good amount to actually be able to taste the maple sugar while not being overly sweet. I don't think you can overstate how important maple is to the economy and just the cultural identity, I think, of the area. In our area, it's like a holiday season, almost maple season. I mean, everyone in the area drives out to a maple farm every year. It's just part of the identity here, really. You know, I think culturally, of course, it goes back to the native communities who've been here forever, who first started using maple syrup, of course. And then you know, the family that we purchase our maple sugar from, Fultons, they're on, I think, their 7th generation of family members who are now operating their farm and have some of the same maple trees for over 100 years now. Usually kind of end of February, it might start and runs through March, sometimes early April. I mean, it depends a lot, of course, on the weather. It needs to be a little bit above freezing during the day, ideally, and then continue to be freezing overnight for the sap to run. I actually don't know how much land they have, but they have quite an elaborate system of piping between the trees that go into an evaporator. They sell maple syrup all over the world. I know they do quite a lot of exports to Japan, especially.
Is there a particular character, would you say, to the maple flavor near you? Is there kind of a terroir influence to your maple?
I think that there is. I think what I've heard is that the lighter maple syrup, which runs earlier in the season, has a higher sugar content, which is easier to turn into granulated sugar because whenever it boils, it's less likely to actually granulate rather than turn into a brick. But some of that later syrup that is darker has more minerals, a little bit more of a caramelized flavor to it, but it is a lot more tricky to actually turn into granules for the sugar. I think that part of the trick of adding the maple sugar into the chocolate is that cacao is such a strong flavor. Maple is a strong flavor. So it is just trying to make sure that they are complementing each other rather than really kind of fighting with each other.
And what stage of that sugar production process are you using in the bar?
So it can vary, but generally we do get the lighter maple sugar from the beginning, just because it is easier to produce. And the big thing that we need to worry about with chocolate, of course, is just having a very low water content, because if you add anything that is very moist into cacao, it will just seize. I don't know how much of it is just an association with maple, but it really does take me into a forest whenever I'm tasting that bar. I mean, I really just do feel like I'm in the middle of a maple forest every time I taste it. To me, what I love about it is it just represents so much of what Drew and I have tried to build with Hummingbird, trying to have both that impact with farmers in the countries that we're working with, but also bring it back home to Canada and combine really those two cultures as much as we can. I do think that the maple bar really tells the story of our company, in that it is just 2 ingredients. It's cacao from Ghana and it's maple from our neighbors who are, just 5 miles up the road, and turning it into something delicious.
You can learn more about Hummingbird at hummingbirdchocolate.com or on Instagram at hummingbirdchocolate. I'll link to both in the show notes. The music today was by my dear friend Anna P.S. My name is David Nilsson. Thanks for listening to Bean to Barstool Bite-Sized.